This is the Bethel Business Podcast, brought to you by the Bethel Chamber of Commerce in Bethel, Connecticut, and produced by Smith Douglas Associates. Good morning. We are here talking with Michael and Jennifer Sauvageau with Noteworthy Chocolates here in Bethel, Connecticut. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So, tell me a little bit more about how you came to Noteworthy Chocolates. How did this company start?
We had previously run a toy and entertainment company together, Jennifer and I did, and we had decided to kind of change up what we were doing. I had taken a job for another company for a bunch of years, and we realized in that time that we were better suited to work for ourselves than we were to work for somebody else. And so in that pursuit, I had gone down to the Jacob Javits Convention Center looking for something to do. There was an event expo going on there, and so we were looking for other ideas, and we didn't come across anything. There was nothing there that we thought was like super awesome. And so on the train on the way home, I got thinking about a recurring theme. What was happening at the expo that was not there, or that was there a lot, and something that I could kind of look at it as a negative space. If I couldn't find what I was looking for, then what was missing? And I realized that every single booth that we left offered chocolate to us. So every single one, and it's like a big thing. So we got thinking about chocolate, and then through another kind of reason, lasers were in my purview. So it was just a simple question: is like, well, I wonder if we could laser engrave messages into chocolate. And that was sort of the idea. And Jennifer said, the Danbury Innovation Center.
The Danbury Innovation Center had just gotten a laser. I had just read about it. So I said, well, why don't we go down to the Innovation Center and see what we can do, see if we can try. So we went and got some chocolate bars from the store, and they said yes, and of course, and they were like, chocolate? Yeah, okay, come on in. And then Michael spent many nights lasering chocolate, trying to get the settings right, making lots of mistakes along the way, and everyone there was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, the hackerspace really liked my mistakes. They loved it when I was messing up. So, and yeah,
it was all figuring it out as we went along. So
right, and then the really hard part came in is we had to find the right chocolate that would work well with the laser. And so we had to test out all sorts of chocolate and see if it would work, and
it was terrible.
Yeah, awful, just awful. And so then we found the perfect chocolate for the laser that worked really well for the laser, and it also fit in with our food allergies requirements, which were pretty extensive. And
I wanted to make sure that we had chocolate that everybody could eat. Just about. Like, unless you're allergic to chocolate, pretty much you can eat our chocolate. I myself have 10 major allergies and like about 30 sensitivities, and all the major ones, and it's very hard to find chocolate that is without soy, and that's also tree and peanut, and also gluten-free. I mean, gluten-free, a lot of chocolate is because it's chocolate, but this is actually, it's certified that way. So pretty much, anyone can eat the chocolate, and that was really important to me because I know how hard it is to not be able to have treats, so.
As well as being ethically sourced, so it was really important to us to find a good source for the chocolate that we could feel good about eating and not worry about some of the bad things that go along with the chocolate industry.
When did you decide to actually make this a functional business, and how did you decide these are the kind of clients that we're looking for?
Well, I think after we sent out our first chocolate note, we sort of realized we were onto something, and we had been researching this for about 2 to 3 months at this point, and sort of, we were working on it, we were looking into it, we were testing. And in that time, I had been out of work for the company I was working for about 6 months, and I got on the phone with my parents, and I could hear in their voice so what are you doing, Michael? And I kind of put him off on that conversation and said to Jennifer, it's like, we need to send out a chocolate note to my folks. And so we created our first chocolate message and sent it to them. And the response that we got, now granted it was from Mom, so it's going to be biased, but she's been a lifelong chocoholic. And so she told us about her experience of opening it. And so she first said that, well, I saw that there was a package from you, so I was going to wait till your father got home to open it, but I decided I'd peek a little bit, and I peeked a little bit, and I saw that there was chocolate in there. And I was like, oh, chocolate. And then she looked a little closer and said, oh, there's writing on this chocolate. Cool. So she opened it a little bit more and then started reading it and said, Dear Mom and Dad, I hope you had a great vacation. Wait a minute. We just got back from vacation. This is written to me. This is written to us. This is a chocolate letter written to us. Mm-hmm. And she got so excited about it, and she absolutely loved it. She was thrilled. She never had a chocolate letter written to her, and she thought it was brilliant. And with that response, we then sent out a bunch more chocolate notes to different friends and people we knew, and essentially the response was universal. It was full on. People loved it, and they really appreciated what we were doing. And so with that in mind, we recognized that, okay, we were onto something here. Nobody else is doing this, so we better move. And that was really what it was. And, it was fully like, just take it and go, because otherwise, we weren't going to be able to make it. So yeah, we decided that we were going to launch a crowdfunding campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and along the way, we developed it more so it could be a gift, like an experience. We didn't want to just sell, slabs of chocolate with writing on it. It had to be a really nice experience. And I think that your mom kind of, got the first taste of that, like when you open, unwrap the ribbon and you open the box and there's a paper copy of it. So, you get to keep that, and there's a wax stamp, and it's just the whole process is really fun because it's like discovering, oh, what's next, and then when you see that it's actually addressed to you and as a thoughtful message, there was the overwhelming response to it, which was really meaningful to us as well, because we were creating some things that people loved.
And it was also important to us to do a nice job with packaging and be really responsible to the earth. So 99.9% of our packaging is either recyclable, reusable, or edible.
And compostable.
Yeah. So.
Do you see most of your customers and clients to be one-on-one personal or corporate?
We have a mix of corporate and individual and special events. So, things like weddings and bridal showers and things like that. We do a lot of favors for those kinds of special events.
Well, because we use a laser to do the engraving, every single piece of ours, goes on the laser. And so it allows us some customization that other people just couldn't do in chocolate. For instance, we can do chocolate seating cards for weddings and corporate events. So it's kind of neat to be able to get to a place and have your name and your seat number there as something that you can then, hopefully you find your seat before you eat it. And so we really have a pretty diverse mix of business to business, of website orders to consumers, and then going into the special events industry. So we have kind of the three legs. Those are the three legs of our business.
What are some of the challenges that you've overcome in getting the business up and started and running and successful?
So many.
Which one to start with? Having to take on many tasks all at once, picking and choosing which tasks to finish and which you can and be interrupted, and there's just so many things going on all at once. It's for me, that's been the most challenging.
I think one of the biggest things is getting people to change behaviors is very hard sometimes. And so in the process of doing this, people said how amazing it was and how awesome it was, and they can't wait to order. But some of those people still haven't ordered, So I think, that's been like getting people the idea and habit that this is possible has been sort of one of the barriers. And we have a really wonderful reorder rate. Once people order with us, they're like, oh, this is great. And the people they gave it to as a gift really appreciated it. And so once people are likely to use our service, they're likely to use it again. But getting folks involved and invested into it, I think was one of the bigger challenges that we had. We're moving along fairly nicely at that. Then we also had technical challenges. Chocolate is a very temperamental substance, and to properly make chocolate, it can be very challenging and frustrating. So there's sometimes lots of late nights of making chocolate and overcoming some of those technical hurdles. And same thing with innovating the product. We found that some things work. Some like dark chocolate by itself didn't really have a lot of contrast and look really good on the laser. So we're like, well, we want to be able to offer dark chocolate. And so during the process, we came up with the idea of using a little bit of edible color dust on the face of the mold, this golden color on it. And when it came out, it looks beautiful. That now became one of our signature products, golden dark chocolate. And it looks fabulous and has a very nice response to it.
How do people find you? Do they find you via the web, via face-to-face?
I think word of mouth is really where most people, and networking events, and just going out and meeting people and talking about it. We're also, of course, on all, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Twitter not so much, but, we're working on it. But Instagram's fun. And, and of course online. And a lot of our Kickstarter backers, I think, also have continued to support us beyond just using their rewards and getting chocolate through that from their contribution. They have come back more and more.
Where do you see the company growing in 3-5 years? How do you see yourself scaling up?
I see us moving into the franchise model, and we become the purveyors of the chocolate stationery, creating the chocolate stationery and all the supplies, packages, and sending those out to different franchises around the country. Because we can operate in a very small space, especially if you don't need to make the chocolate, you can work out of many areas that people in other businesses wouldn't be able to lease. So you can get a relatively inexpensive lease. Because chocolate is temperamental and shipping as well, our focus is to have one-day shipping, so having different franchises set up all around the country. So anywhere that orders is going to be one-day shipping, which will be a pretty big competitive advantage for us as well. Keep our shipping costs down.
Did you find any challenges on the state or town or government level?
No, actually, I think, everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. When people go on vacation, you just give yourself enough time to get things done and read the directions. And it's and ask questions. Always ask questions. Like that. I think that's a big part of the learning process. So, if you don't know, just ask. And that's, and keep going. Just keep filling out the forms. I mean, we had really, I feel like, no problem.
Yeah, we had wonderful guidance from the folks in the town and even through the state. We had to, get the different permits through the town, but then we also had to get inspected from the State Department of Consumer Protection, and everyone was really pleasant and happy. They wanted you to do things a certain way for the safety and health of the people that you're serving. So if you look at it in that context, everything they wanted was totally reasonable, and you just needed to pay attention to those things. And and once you did that, it was very easy.
Do you have any proprietary basis here? Do you have an IP or a patent on lasering chocolate?
We do, actually.
As of a few days ago.
Paperwork was submitted, and we are
patent
pending. Very exciting.
Yep. So we have an intellectual properties patent on the process of creating laser engraved chocolate.
So you don't have any direct technology competitors out there?
Correct. As far as right now, we are the only company that uses a laser to engrave directly onto the chocolate. There are other companies that use lasers to create molds in chocolate that then you need to order a high minimum run. You need to order 400 or 500 of them. You have to pay mold fees and setup fees and such like that. So one of our other competitive edges is that we don't have setup fees, and we have a very small minimum run of, sometimes, one for our bigger pieces, but even 15 minimum for our medallions or 25 for our mini messages. So it's not really a high minimum for people to get invested in.
Do you do custom shapes, or do you have a series of templates on certain shapes?
Oh, we have templates that people can choose from that fit on primarily 3 different sizes. We have a note, which is 5x5, a card, which is 6x6, and a letter, which is 6x8. And basically, that maximizes the amount that you can put onto it, and you have like a bigger canvas. If we start doing shapes, we might get into some, but it's harder to lay out, get as much on there as people like. If you want a name, if you're getting married and you want, a name and a date and a nice saying or a poem, there's less room if you have shapes. So we found like the squares and the rectangles work really well. And we have templates that people can choose from, or if it's like a special occasion, like a wedding or something like that, then we'll design, we can design by their theme or whatever they'd like. So
If someone had artwork or a logo, can they just send you the file, and can you lace that into the chocolate as well?
generally, yeah. Not so much pictures, like photographs, portraits, that kind of thing don't really work well in chocolate. But the like a logo, just a high resolution file will pretty much, for most of the time, work. We might have to remove some detail or make a little change, because some things just don't work in chocolate. It's different than any other kind of medium, So we might play with it a little bit just to make it work, but it's as easy, really just emailing a logo. It's pretty easy.
Now, can you do color, especially dealing with white chocolate?
We don't really want to mess around with colors. I think the idea is to keep the chocolate as pure as we can. And we add the gold dust because it makes it makes it prettier, and it shows you that it makes it easier to read. And then we just started adding some copper dust to our milk chocolate, and that also, it just makes it elevates the product. It just looks so much nicer. I think the idea is to keep the chocolate as pure as possible, because we really rocked it on that. Like, we have really delicious chocolate that's gourmet, used by chefs around the world, and it hits all of the things that we wanted it to hit.
So you said you were from Maine. What are your backgrounds?
I graduated from SUNY New Paltz with a bachelor's in sociology. I've done just so many different things along the way, and produced music festivals and grant writing and a toy company, a teacher of sorts, a lot of different creative and interesting things. We've done a lot of traveling. So I take all these things and put them together, and I'm using them all here to help build the business, and it's been a really interesting process.
And I got my degree from Western Connecticut State University. My degree is in communications and theater arts. And I have used that degree pretty much almost every single day of my life, essentially. And find that what I learned from my schooling translates very directly into my business world. I feel like I'm one of the few people who uses their degree.
What made you decide to move to Bethel?
Well, when I was working for that company 5 years ago, we moved to Bethel because we knew we loved it, and we had lived up in Maine, and we were kind of out in the woods a little bit, so we decided we wanted to be close to walking distance to the center of town. And then
Michael's originally from Danbury, and I lived in Danbury and always loved Bethel.
and so when we were looking around, well, I guess to backtrack a second, in order to get to Bethel, we first needed to raise some funds to actually get into our shop. We were bootstrapping this. We didn't have a whole lot of resources, and out of the Danbury Innovation Center, we ran a successful Kickstarter campaign for a month-long process there, and that was time we had never worked so hard, and it was really a very intense experience. But we ended up raising a little over $28,000, And with that, we started looking around for spaces. And so we looked in Danbury, mostly Danbury and Bethel. We wanted to be close to home. We don't need a traditional retail space where people just walk in because we customize everything. So we don't have anything for people to just walk in and buy.
But they can come in and order things. That's
right, which is nice, and they get to see us and see what we're doing, and we have our little gallery of stuff so that people can take a look at the types of work that we do, and so we knew that the space above Malt and Java here has been open for a little bit. They've tried a couple different things, but it's not really a great retail space, and so retail companies, businesses were having a hard time making it here, and so we said, well, this could be really perfect. It's half mile from our house. It's above one of the most important things in the world, coffee, and also having known Wendy and been a personal friend of Wendy Cahill, the owner of Malt and Java, for 20 plus years now, we recognized that this would probably be a really good fit. So we talked to her, and then July of last year we moved in and started renovating the place and putting up our chocolate laser lab.
And you're both members of the Chamber of Commerce?
Oh yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What benefits do you find at being a chamber member?
Well, there's a lot of information that they have about growing your business, and they have speakers, and they have functions and meetups and networking events, and they put on community events, and that's how a lot of how we're getting known here in the community is by going out to these events and showing our faces and giving out some chocolate.
They were also very supportive when we were first starting. They helped us, connect with different resources so we could find the actual location in Bethel that was best for us. So they helped us with information like that too.
Anything else that you would like to let other chamber members know about you, about what you offer, how you can help their businesses?
We have a pretty unique service that we offer, and understanding that because we don't have high minimums, we have a very easy price point into getting your own customized chocolates, which can be very beneficial for growing people's business. When you have a special event, you're doing a grand opening, to have chocolates that talk about your grand opening, that specifically talk about that day, your business. It's a memorable thing. It's not just another piece of chocolate. And I think that also we have a lot of luck sending out thank you gifts for clients. They come onto our website and design your own chocolate thank you note, which has been great for speaker gifts or other things that people need client gifting for, to make that a nice impression, a thank you note. We even had a young woman who was applying for a job, and she was on her third interview, and it was between her and another person, and so she came over to us. We made her a special thank you chocolate that she brought to the company, and she landed the job. So.
Now, on her own merits, but the chocolate did sweeten the deal.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I also think that for other people starting businesses, entrepreneurs, go to the chamber events, join the chamber. Definitely go to networking events. They're all over the place, meetups all over the place. And that's where, if you have a business to business, then that is, networking is totally essential. And it's not just meeting the people there, it's getting to know all the different folks, the different movers and shakers in the different towns around. And then establishing yourself as doing something good for the community, and hopefully the other business folks will see that and be like, oh hey, we want to help support you, not just by ordering or whatever, but oh, did you know so and so? Oh, I know this person, they would really use your service, they could really like that. Or and so I think that's one of the keys to being successful in a small business, is networking.
Any recommendations for entrepreneurs thinking of leaving corporate America and starting their own business?
Be prepared for many late nights.
Plan to work hard. Work really, really, really hard. And keep your eye on what you're trying to do, because there's lots of times that's like, what are we doing? It's frustrating, it's hard, it's challenging. Are we going to be able to do this? Money's tight. Are we going to be able to make this happen? All those things. And I guess the other thing is make sure that you do your market research before you leave your job. Make sure that you know that you don't just have the idea in your brain that it's a good idea. Like, get validation, find customers, before you leave, or start it on the side and start to get traction that way while you still have, the paycheck going on, because you're not going to work less hours. When you leave your corporate job, you're gonna work more hours, and so you might as well even sort of look at it as boot camp. So, can I work after I get off my job, and can I go work from whatever 8 o'clock till midnight to do the things I need to do to make this happen? I think would be advice I would offer.
Anything else you would like to share with the Bethel community?
Eat more chocolate. No. Follow what you love. If you're not really excited about it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. This has been going on we've launched about 7 months ago now, but we've been working on this for a year and a half. In this time, we have never worked so hard, but we've never had so much fun working either. So it's an incredibly enjoyable process generally. It's stressful at times. But mostly it's wonderful. And because we're so excited about it, it makes the long hours, it makes the sacrifices and there are definitely sacrifices. We've pretty much stopped having dinner with friends and such, stopped going out. The time off that we have is to spend with our kids and our family. And that's most of the time that we have now, besides work. So be willing to sacrifice and recognize that if you're really excited and really passionate about what you're doing, then the reward is there in itself, regardless of how your business ends up doing.
Well, it has been a pleasure speaking to you both. Have a wonderful summer and enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming.
Make sure to visit noteworthychocolates.com. Thank you for listening to the Bethel Business Podcast. For more information about the Bethel Chamber of Commerce, call 203-743-6500 or visit discoverbethelct.com. If you run a business in the Bethel area and are interested in being a guest on this podcast, contact Smith Douglas Associates at 203-628-2606.